What's up, my mobile gamers? So today we're going to be looking at the Backbone One for Android. They have had the iOS version out for just a little while. The Android version, I think, released sometime in November, and I got my hands on one, and I've been wanting to test it out just because I am always on the go. So for me, it's a big deal to be able to play on the go since I'm not home all that much. And sometimes I just don't want to play my Switch and I want to play something a little more serious. So I'm happy that this has come out. I know there's other options, but I've been wanting a Backbone One for the Android for a while. I've tried it on the iOS and it's fantastic. It works really well with PS Remote Play, which is what I primarily play, but I have tried it with Steam and whatnot, and it was also excellent. So let's take a look. All right, so right out of the box, it feels really nice. It's pretty ergonomic. I have small to medium sized hands, and I have used it for about 2 to 3 hours playing Remote Play as well as Android games, and I can't say that my hands were hurting at all at any point. So I do like the grip style that they chose. It feels really nice. Something that is a little bit different from the competitors, well, now they're all leaning more towards this, is this bridge. I know the Razer Kishi originally had the band, and a lot of people were complaining about that because it made it feel kind of flimsy, but this definitely doesn't feel flimsy. It can be a little bit of a concern just because it does make it a little bit more breakable, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. It still feels pretty sturdy even when I'm putting a decent amount of pressure on, so unless you really throw it around, you should be okay. The analogs almost feel like the Nintendo Switch analogs, as well as the buttons. They do feel pretty nice. If you're not a huge fan of the analog sticks or the buttons on the Switch, I gotta say the analogs feel slightly better than the Switch analogs. They are a little less stiff in my opinion, but just a little small for my liking. Otherwise, the rest of the buttons feel really nice. The triggers and the spring trigger are awesome addition to this. It's really easy to load your phone in. Let me just put that in there. And I'm loading it with a Galaxy S22 Ultra. Fits perfectly. I know people have concerns with the larger phones, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall out. Doesn't feel flimsy or anything like that. I feel like I'm holding a legitimate controller or handheld console, which is awesome. Now, once you have plugged in for the first time, it's gonna have you download the Backbone app. Once you have the Backbone app downloaded and permissions allowed, you can go ahead and just open the Backbone app with a press of the Backbone button, which I think is pretty neat. The Backbone UI kind of gives me Steam Deck vibes. Very simple, clean, nothing crazy. You can actually add friends and even start a party with the Backbone UI, which is pretty awesome. The UI does make it pretty easy to find games and download them. Now, keep in mind, just because it doesn't say you have to pay when you click into them, some of them are paid. So when you go to download, they are actually going to bring you to the Google Play Store and you have to pay for them. But there's a ton of free-to-play games that are pretty awesome if you want to give a shot. Now, if you don't have a console, whether it be a PlayStation or an Xbox or a computer to use Steam Link, don't fret. There are a ton of free-to-play games as well as Android games you can download with this. I think the library is something like 500 or 600 games. Some indies, some big-time names. So the last thing I wanted to take a look at with you guys is the remote options we have for the PlayStation, since that's the majority of the gaming that I do besides my PC, especially when I'm on the go, which is quite often. Now, the official PS Remote Play app does not work with the Backbone Android version, unfortunately, although it does work with the iPhone version. So if you have the iPhone version, go ahead, buy it. They even have a PlayStation version with the white, which looks fantastic. Now, me being a techie, I'm more of an Android guy, but nothing wrong with an iPhone. So if you have the iPhone, you can go ahead and buy that and use the PS Remote Play app, which is completely free. It's the official PlayStation app, but unfortunately that will not work with the Android version. But you do still have a few options with the Android version. So right here, I am playing with the PS Play app. I actually don't have my PlayStation wired in. I'm actually doing this wirelessly just to show you the latency and whatnot. It's still pretty solid. There is a little bit of a delay, but keep in mind, I am doing it wirelessly. My PlayStation is not wired in. I am playing at 720p. If you do wire your PlayStation in, you're going to get a little bit better performance, and you can probably push those stats a little bit higher. I'm playing at 30 FPS on 720. It still looks really crisp. The controller feels super comfortable. So it's very easy to map all the buttons with PS Play. It comes pre-mapped, but you can go ahead and change some of the mapping options, such as the PlayStation button or even the touchpad, which I've set the touchpad here to the ellipsis. It's pretty easy to configure. Now, you do have the option of using Chiaki as well, but that's a little bit more complicated. So I would say for someone who doesn't want to delve into things that are a little bit more complicated and a little more time consuming, just try out the PS Play app. It works great. I've tried it both wired and wirelessly, and the latency wired is phenomenal. If you absolutely can't wire your PlayStation, the latency is still okay. So I would say as long as you're playing a single player RPG game, you shouldn't have any issues. You can always try bumping the quality down a little bit just to keep the performance up there. I do like to try to keep it around 720p, but you can go as low as 360p with the PS Play app. All right, guys, so there you have it. Pretty solid. I'm super excited. I'm definitely satisfied with it. I'm going to be using this a lot more, especially when I'm on the go. If you guys have opened it, tried it out, if you have any issues or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Is there any positives, any things you don't like about it? Let me know as well. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.